No, disappeared out of the. When I was. No, we don't have that. Okay.
All right, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order with a quick roll call.
Sue Erickson.
Here.
Ken May.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
John Birdsall.
Here.
Craig Conley.
Perfect. We're going to looking for approval of this agenda tonight. It's a big one, so anything that anybody needs to shuffle around or anything needed to change before we approve the agenda? Otherwise, would welcome a motion to approve the agenda.
This question, Jerry, and maybe I'll address it with the tip, but I didn't see it in there directly. We had a question in minutes last time about on the TIF, if we extend it 10 years and the developer gets made whole, can we use some of that other time period?
Yeah, I did respond back to that.
Okay, it is,
And
okay.
only if there's debt that the city has,
Right.
and that money be used for the urban renewal area you're talking about the Severs?
Yeah.
Only for that project, and if the city has
Right.
debt.
And I don't think we'd have debt. My interpretation was we would not have debt associated with that specific project, therefore no,
Or
the
if-
answer was no.
If you were to expand it for like a new
Right.
plat.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Then it
then
goes
you gotta do a new agreement, so, but
Yep.
because we didn't. I guess just it calls what you attribute debt to in terms of when we ran sewer and water out.
Well, debt can be the agreement to reimburse the developer for those improvements that they're dedicating to the city. Like the streets, water, sewer.
Right, for them, but I mean for our debt.
That would
In
be.
theory.
considered debt.
In theory, we don't have any. Even though we spent that money to get it there. We should have built that in the first time. That did come up in conversation.
But the 700,000 is considered to be debt, according to the attorney.
Right, they're 700 grand, I think you were referring to the water sewer we're gonna have,
Right,
and since we didn't take.
Since we didn't do it at the front end,
because we didn't make out a separate,
because we didn't add it in on the front end, we can't add it in on the back end.
so it would have to be in the original agreement to do.
Right.
Motion to approve, Sean?
Move
The agenda?
tonight's agenda.
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye. Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? All right, so we have some new council members here tonight. That we're gonna swear in. Lindsay, are you gonna do this?
Sure.
Jerry, Lindsay? All right, so what we'll do is, we'll start here with Julie. Julie, if you wanna come up, you wanna just go to the front around here and we'll read.
We don't have.
All right, fine, special attention.
Okay, I know we're so much.
Yeah, and this is, yeah.
Hey, do you want her to raise your right hand too?
In theory, all elected council members can do it together.
Yeah, they can all do it together.
Did anyone want a moment of it on their own, or do you care? Okay, Russ and AJ, why don't you guys come up? Come up as well up front, and then we'll read and myself, I guess. And we'll just read it all together. We'll move on. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll let you guys read them.
all right, so I'll go, I can lead. I, Taylor Christensen,
Are we supposed to be reading with you?
Nope, you guys will go, yep. I, Taylor Christensen, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa and the City Code of Slater, Iowa. And that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all the duties of the office of mayor of the City of Slater, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law.
Hey, Julie.
I, Julie Weeks, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa and the City Code of Slater, Iowa, and that I will faithfully and impartially do the best of my ability discharge all the duties of the office of the City Council of the City of Slater, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law.
To use my legal name.
How are you gonna do it, AJ?
wanna hear it. I, AJ Strumford, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa and the City Code of Slater, Iowa, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all the duties of the office of City Council of the City of Slater, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law.
I, Russ Terhar, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa and the City Code of Slater, Iowa, and I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all duties of the office of City Council of the City of Slater, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law.
All right, let's get a quick photo of everybody.
And you all need to find a leave.
AJ, it's Alan Jackson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever you want. You know it, where you know that you can share with us. Alan Jackson. No, me.
Embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing when the people who named you are here and you won't use your name.
1, 2, 3.
Still better than what I usually go.
Okay.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you,
Thank
Mayor.
Here's one.
There's
We're
your,
moving.
there's yours. Sign those if you want, whenever you get to. And then-
Well, they're just getting back to your seat. I
Good
was
luck.
gonna take a minute to thank the outgoing. 8 years, 12 years, more years than you can count, is that what you told me the last
Something like
time?
that, yeah.
I learned enormous amount from you guys, and the knowledge we're losing after what you guys experienced, I greatly appreciate. So my thanks for me personally and for what you've done for the town over the last uncounted number of years.
I still have Kevin's number.
All right, I'm going to jump to the sheriff's report really quickly since he's here. Anything going on?
It's more of a, or for you guys for questions or anything I can take back to the office.
I know,
Questions?
not specific.
No, okay. I know we talked to the sheriff a little bit about some ordinance stuff, making sure you guys have our city ordinances,
Yeah,
making sure you guys had copies. I know that the sheriff kind of was hesitant about maybe some of that in terms of like if we get into a lot of them all over, so anything. Yeah, just that our city attorney versus whatever, but really for us, I think the biggest ones we've had complaints about is obviously speed on some of our city streets. And then fireworks obviously always comes up, not this time of year, but so if there's things we can do in between now and July to work on or to help you guys get some of those ordinances
Yeah.
related to that, so you can address them.
If you guys, Jerry has my email, I already have Lieutenant Quinn's, you can forward that and I can help disperse it across the office. Yeah, like the new law of the UTVs or slow moving vehicles, that helps us a ton, like enforce that stuff. That's something we have a lot more legs on enforcing, because now it's, statewide enforced as well, so we can.
Okay. The only other one was related to, which Ken
The
brings.
new law you're referring to.
Like, they have to be marked and insured and registered, can't go over 35, that type of stuff.
The only other one is that comes up quite a bit is just the golf carts in town being driven by children or young kids. And so if you need a copy of our ordinance that says, we can provide that to you as well.
Yeah, and I'll take.
We
I
don't
should
want to,
say the new law, it makes it a lot more, like, people know about it, like, they're
Yeah.
more aware of the law, it doesn't change our enforcement. Our ability to enforce it differently from, a city ordinance, people are a lot more aware of it, because it's a state law, it is what it is type of thing, so.
And fireworks opens up again this month for
yeah.
both sales and use, right?
Yep.
Sales can open up as well when the first.
Yep.
Yeah, and our ordinance allows a window of time on the,
On the 31st.
yep. So,
But it's
All
not
right.
typically, it's
never been a
almost
problem.
never a
really.
problem this time of year. Let's go outside and
Yeah.
light them off.
Yeah.
I do every year.
You guys have specific complaints of things, I always tell people that documentation helps a lot, because then it gives us something to go off of and history to go off of. Just like any other call or issue we have it. If we know about it, it's a lot easier to get ahead of it, so. It's good to see the new faces, I hope I'll be here next year, but I could be seniority out, so. We run July to July, our county representation, so,
Okay,
usually it's Lance and I.
yeah, and he's out right now, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for coming. We do appreciate you
Yeah,
responding and showing up.
Yeah, if you have any. Again, you guys, if you have anything, see us around town, don't be afraid to stop out and chat with us, so
Okay,
most of us are friendly faced.
perfect. Yeah, the one other thing was you leave. A couple times I've seen you down there, and obviously every town wants it, but anytime you can be here in Slater during the the start of school or
Yeah.
pre-start of school, our intersection down here is a really, really messy intersection, and there's always an incident every morning. Yeah, there's an incident every morning. Now, when I say incident, someone tries to go before somebody else, or they're going in a kid's crossing, or there's a lot of near misses at that intersection.
I take 5 10th into work every day, so.
Okay.
I'm here at school, that's it every day, I can't change the habits of the guys on day shift, but they.
Yeah.
Forward it to them. I'm here almost I drive up at 3 PM every day, so it's.
Okay.
It's prime time right as I'm driving through, so.
Yeah, it's just your presence helps.
It's either a loop I take or. Loop around the town to make sure people know I'm here, so.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yep.
It's helpful. All right.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great night. All right, citizens forum. Jerry and I are working on some improvements for the new year in terms of how we go about feedback and those things. The citizen forum will remain, but we're gonna start taking some cards or a sign up for agenda specific items, so we know who wants to speak on what item and we have that a little better organized. But for tonight, is there anybody in the audience that showed up that would like to talk about anything? Have we received anything?
No.
It's substance?
I haven't.
We'll give another minute or two. Nobody? All right. Then we're gonna move on to approve to the consent agenda here. We've got a list of items. Any questions about the items listed under the consent agenda? We'd welcome those now.
Lindsay, the Iowa Finance Authority about halfway down the page or 72 grand.
Those are your 3 bond payments
Oh, okay.
all together.
I did want to notate there in the clerk's report, the city of Slater received a really, really generous gift. From an estate, a trust, Sandra
Snides.
Snides. SYDNES.
Sidness.
Sidness. Sandra Sidness left the city of Slater, specifically the cemetery, $85,860.26 in her trust. So really, really appreciative of that. That's very helpful. So you see that in the clerk report, but that was from an estate that was left to the city of Slater for the cemetery specifically.
And you buy land.
We're very grateful for that. Yeah.
Buy that for stuff. One month to get on that.
I have one question, the October credit cards. Since we're doing that different now, and so we're not seeing detail. You guys are checking over that to make sure everything is above board and dividing it out among the accounts. That's my due diligence. Okay, thank you.
It's nice having each of the managers or department heads code it correctly.
Is that working well?
Yes,
In
it
audit?
is.
Good.
Yes, and Brant, this is a question for you. Is that 612 already up there being worked on, or is that still here?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We're waiting.
Santa was in it yesterday.
That-
Santa was in it yesterday.
This is the first time I saw the details about what you're doing. It's basically we're turning it into a much more effective off-road vehicle.
Correct, yeah, we're kind of making it way it should be.
Okay, that was my question. So
No, it's just
original
we've
chassis
taken so
was not in
long,
the
you know,
past.
we kind of outfitted ourselves and built it ourselves, and now it's to the point where we know what the last grass truck we had was like, and we don't want it to be like that.
Okay,
As in creaky, cracky, and so this is upfitting it where it needs to be.
okay,
So, and the association is going to pay the difference of the 18,000, so
okay.
that's all we're asking for.
And we got places, you call your brush truck, right? And we got places we can't get to with the existing truck.
Yeah, it's just, this will make it a lot better, you know, it raises it, better tires and.
Out there, you just have to have it towed out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm asking, is if the thing can't get to the
Yeah,
fire.
AJ said it's been stuck 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to get to is.
Yeah,
It is stopping us from getting where we should be.
You know.
Well, it's probably one of the more common calls we get nowadays. I mean, in this area as well, is for those field fires. We're using that
this is the
off-road.
time of year to.
Yep.
Amazing.
Appreciate the minutes from the other groups. If there's nobody that has other questions on the consent agenda, I would take a motion to approve that.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any more discussion on anything? Got all the questions answered? All right. All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Presentations, Jerry.
All right, I'd like to personally thank the outgoing city council for their leadership and direction that you've provided the city. It's been good working with you. Thanks for all your questions and input that you provided. Thank you also for your trust that you provided or requested of me and staff to provide admin leadership. And we're gonna do our best to fulfill those the support that you provided. So thank you for all that you've done. I want to thank John with Assured Partners for being here. Kurt with JEO and Brenda with the Eames Regional Economic Alliance. They all have items on the agenda tonight. Mark Land was here, provided some treats and left. So thank you to Mark Land for that. Some of the items that are on the agenda, we've got a few setting hearings. One is for the Severs Development Agreement, one on water and sewer rate increases, and one on if there's support to amend the city's code of ordinances, primarily in the area of zoning. And then we also have a discussion item for solid waste and recycling. Want to thank the department heads, boards and commissions. Lindsay and I met with all the department heads, boards and commissions to talk about the CIP and the capital improvement plan and the budget. As I mentioned before at the special meeting, it's likely around 70 to 75% complete. There's still work that needs to be done on it, but we've got a lot of the research completed and underway. And we know that the big component of this is to have a better understanding of the revenues. And once we learn about what the legislature's planning with regard to property taxes and the schedule for how that will all unfold, we'll provide some additional information for what those future meetings will be. The deadline is still going to be, to my knowledge, May 30th for budget submittal, unless again, the legislature changes that. The insurance provider for the city extended the claim to the greenhouse. They reopened that based on the questions that Grospan had with regard to the forensic engineering assessment or study that was done on the building. And I had a meeting this afternoon with FEMA and Homeland Security with regard to that project. And there's several items and information that they requested from Public Works and staff and to get that information to them before our next meeting, which is next Wednesday. Lindsay and I finished up the pool employee handbook and sent it to the pool manager. We also sent it to the assistant pool managers at the request of the Park and Rec Board. So that document will be before the Parks and Rec Board at their meeting on the 15th. And then that document and the general employee handbook will be before the city council at the meeting on the 12th. And we're also collecting information on salary ranges for all the positions in the city, as well as we're gonna be working on the job descriptions that are currently in the city's code of ordinances. So likely to hear more information about that at the next meeting in January. That's all that I have.
Outstanding. I copied you all on an email back to the school board. They didn't make a decision on our contract. I've basically invited or requested that we have a joint meeting or at least a joint discussion with their board. If you noticed in the questions, they were asking about improvements being made to the facility. Again, I'm echoing what I've heard here, which is we're open to that if the partnership is extended or a little more long-term commitment. So we'll wait to hear back on that. I'm also in the process of getting a meeting with the chair of the Boone County Supervisors to have a discussion regarding the solid waste. We initially went that direction and we're told no, that basically we'd have to get the supervisors on board to get anything moving on that. So thanks to the Ames Economic Alliance, I've got some help getting in front of the chair of the Boone County Supervisors, and I'm hoping to have a conversation about that and see if we can't get some traction there. I would say just offer a huge thank you to everybody who helped execute yesterday's Christmas on Main, Joel and the community club, the garden club, the fire department, the quilters club, and all the people that volunteered to make that happen. It's always harder when the weather's the way it was yesterday, but I think it went really, really well. And I'm just grateful that we have volunteers in town that keep traditions like that alive so that they don't die. So appreciate all that effort and time.
Jerry and Lindsay.
Jerry and Lindsay as well.
Jerry's mom.
And my mom,
For serving.
For serving and helping.
That was a huge help, so.
she was kicking it.
She was.
It was awesome.
Which 84?
84.
Wow.
Public Works,
That was awesome.
I think did a great job getting all sidewalks and stuff.
Yeah.
I was expecting to come up here.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do a thing.
Yeah, no, it was all great. We did light the tree a few minutes early. I know there was some people talking about that. We just
was
did that
cold.
based on the temperature and the weather and the people there.
But we didn't really light it. It came on, then tripped the breaker and the mayor rescued the day. Probably was on right at 5 o'clock.
And then lastly, I just want to take a minute to obviously recognize, I was just doing the math here. I think these 3 outgoing council members have a total of 38 years of service combined. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know exactly how old AJ is, but there'll be 2 council members that you guys' tenure on this council is greater than our years on earth. So it's a huge accomplishment. We're really appreciative of everything you did. We've got some plaques here for you guys to just recognize your commitment to the city. And so we appreciate your service. John, thank you. That's Sean. Birdsell, obviously 8 years of service. He was elected in 2018. I've got Sue Erickson now. Sue's been on for 12 years is what our record shows. Elected in 2014, so. And last but not least, we've got Ken, 18 years of service, elected in 2008. So we're very grateful and indebted to you all for your service and guidance through some really interesting times and a lot of changing times, but we're grateful to all of you. We hope you won't be strangers and that you'll continue to offer wisdom and support and volunteerism to this town. So thank you all. Appreciate you. With that said, is there any council comments?
One for Jerry, since we're on record. You might want to repeat your speech from last week about the snow ordinance things and the fact that worked out like a charm.
Yeah, the
People that.
Oh, the windows parking
Yeah.
on parking on the street.
The half sheets you guys put out and Mark said it was the easiest snow cleaning job.
Right. Yeah,
So-
but the vehicles need to be removed within 24 hours of a snowfall.
Mhm.
The Public Works crew put out notices that City Hall staff prepared, put them in the windshield of the vehicles that were parked along the street. And it did generate some interest, but it did help, as Craig said, when Public Works moved snow the first time or the second time, probably both.
First
Um,
time.
that they're aware of the ordinance and they actually moved their vehicles from the street so that they could clean the snow a little easier.
Listen, Mark's not here, but last week, or whatever the budget meeting was, he said that it was the easiest time he's ever had, and Mark's been here, what, 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He said it's the easiest street code, so people would continue to respect those signs. I think Cody's got that out.
No, it was a one-time deal.
One time, yeah.
It was a one-time deal, yep. Just a quick reminder before the first snow, so. But we appreciate people getting their cars off the streets. It helps the public works guys get in and out. And they've had to work a couple weekends already this year, so they appreciate it. Anything else, council? No. All right, let's move into our first agenda item. Discussion and consideration of health and dental life insurance benefits with Assured Partners.
John.
John.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor Christensen, Gary, Lindsay, and the team. Yeah, so I'm John William from Assured Partners. I recognize one face in here. We appreciate the opportunity to administer the group plan in the city of Slater. Just, hopefully we're doing the best we can to take care of your needs there. So with January 1st is renewal season for City of Slater. So we're just, as Mayor mentioned, we're gonna touch on the health increase with Wellmark, the dental increase with Wellmark, vision to your rate locked up in there, life ATD, and drug plan. So for the medical increase, that was a little bit higher this year. We're looking at a 23% overall increase. Reason being is because we're on a grandmother's plan. So it's like a traditional plan. It's not fully a Affordable Care Act plan. It's a grandmother plan. So our census roster claims factor in substantially to the renewal itself. We're sitting at a $2,500 deductible plan. Individuals $7,500 family plan, 5,000 and 15,000 out of pocket that. So other options, we have looked outside of Wellmark, specifically United Healthcare. Wellmark is still coming in roughly 10% lower than United Healthcare plans. And then also within Wellmark, you'll see a couple other options. There could be increasing the deductible from 2,500 to 3,000, which would drop the increase from 23 to 16%. That would also increase out-of-pocket maximum as well. Something we discussed. There's currently an HRA plan, so partially self-funded plan that's in place. It's actually not being utilized at the moment. So that could be something to get back in the works to help with out-of-pocket costs and whatnot for employees. So.
Can you elaborate on that just for my perspective? When you say it's not being utilized?
Yeah, so employees aren't submitting claims for reimbursement after they're going to go to the doctor for co-pays or co-insurance and whatnot, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so the fee itself is very minimal at the moment. It's just $5 per employee that's on the plan. But right now it's just not being utilized at all.
I don't know what an HRA plan is.
Yeah, so it's a health reimbursement account. So essentially you go in for, say you go to the doctor, you pay a copay or something if you have a procedure to your deductible and out-of-pocket maximum. So then it's through ISOL, that's the carrier, ISOL benefits. So then you'd submit your explanation of benefits back to ISOL and then they pay, it's a City of Slater funds the plan and then they pay reimbursement on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's what's in place now. It's not being utilized, not many small, I wouldn't say not many, but not all small groups just have the HRA plan. It's just a little bit more education for employees and whatnot, so.
So is there a fund that's built up with this? I don't know what this third party company.
So iSolved is the carrier, but for HRA plans, the fund essentially is just in-house City of Slater. You're not sending money to
Okay.
iSolved. So
That's how I understood it. So,
yeah, so it's in-house, so the monies are staying here until an employee files for reimbursement. They submit that directly to iSolved, and then on the back end, iSolved requests that from the group.
From us.
Yeah,
And we're paying how much for that?
so it's $5 per employee per month. So right now, there's 5 employees that are enrolled in that plan, it's $25 per month. There's no renewal fee for that, but
So that's just a fluke, they're a processor, basically. They do the work on our behalf
yeah.
of taking our money and reimbursing employees.
Reimbursing, yeah, so let's say, for instance, yourself, you went to the doctor. You got your explanation of benefits from Wellmark about 2 weeks later, then you would submit that to iSolved. And then iSolved would send that, it's usually weekly, they send that. Essentially balance report to City of Slater, and then City of Slater reimburses iSolved, because iSolved reimburses the employee.
Interesting.
Up to how much per employee on that?
Well, it depends. Right now, it's different amounts based on, it looks like different amounts based on, I don't even know what, well, one amount for the. And I don't have the names on whose amounts, but
Based on the deductibles that are chosen and we paid a certain amount so that we could use the
remember-
higher deductible amount.
I remember doing that.
And it lowered our premiums for our employees to do that.
yeah, so right now for employee only. Someone who has employee only coverage for co-insurance and out of pocket. It's up to $1,125 for the year that they could be reimbursed. If they have family coverage on the health plan, it's up to $4,200 that they could be reimbursed, so. The,
Big benefit to the employees if they take advantage of it.
yeah,
I guess I'm not comprehending how it's funded though, if it's,
It's funded out of our pocket.
It's from a-
I get that, but
So
if you have 5
this-
employees on it, you're not funding it enough to cover the maximum exposure.
No, it's just gotta come out of your account.
Right,
Yeah,
the
so
five-
they-
The $5 is
$5
cost.
is just an administrative cost.
so on the, if it's, so.
Gotcha,
Yeah, right now
okay,
it's not.
I gotcha. $5 administrative.
The city of Slater is paying $25 per month to have this account set up. So if it's being utilized, it could pay off really fast, because these are pre-tax monies. So,
When it comes to that, I just have a random question.
sure.
With an employee benefits levy.
Mhm.
If we offer this. Is that can we levy for the maximum exposure on that?
Ooh,
Does that
No.
make sense?
that's a good question.
Well, I don't know, that's
I,
a long ways into the weeds.
yeah,
I don't know.
I usually only levy for what we need
For the premium.
for the premium cost.
To cover the, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
You may be able to do that if if we then set up a separate account to be that funding account.
Yeah, I would just ask you guys to maybe ask that
Call it
question.
self-funding.
Yeah,
Is what this originally was called, and I don't know, I'm not.
HRA, health reimbursement account.
Yeah.
I would just ask you to check on that.
Okay.
We talking
That
about
would be good to know.
the $25 that he's talking about?
No.
No, I'm talking about if a family can be reimbursed up to 4,200 or whatever he said.
That's how it sits now.
We should in theory be
Covered.
setting aside $4,200 a year for that exposure. And we haven't been historically, or the employee. So my question is, if we stick with that, then is that a leviable underneath the employee benefits section of the levy rates? Can we levy for
I
that
can ask.
to cover that exposure? So that we wouldn't have a shortfall that pulls into the general.
And the reimbursable deductibles you just mentioned are for all health or just,
Sorry, which one?
that you said, 1,100 and 4,200? That's for all
The
medical?
HRA is for the health plan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the deductible that's currently on the health plan itself with Wellmark is 2,500 single deductible, 7,500 family.
Okay. So what decision are we tonight? Were you looking for a decision related to this?
Well, we need to know about the dental, which route to go on the dental and on the basic life and AD&E.
Have you talked to any of the 5 employees that are on the plan?
So we just
I
need
mean,
to know
2 of them probably, but
which route you want to go with rates going up. Are you, so with the dental,
Yeah,
currently, I mean, we have do you want to talk about John?
sure.
Okay,
Yep, so with dental, we currently have it's also with Wellmark Food Dental. It's a 2-tier rated system, so employee only is 1 tier, family is another tier. It's just going up slightly, roughly 4%, just based on really rise in healthcare and costs in general. We also quoted So when Lindsay and I met, we touched on if employees need orthodontia for their dependents covered, and we figured at this point it's not necessary. So we also quoted, Delta Dental. You'll see, do you have that sheet there?
Yeah, they all have it.
Yeah, so that middle column there on that sheet is, Delta Dental. You'll see very similar plan to what we currently have, except it's 4-tiered rated instead of 2-tiered rated. So it's employee only, employee spouse, employee children, family. And you'll see total based on current enrollment, you'd be looking at $338.08 monthly. Kept the same Blue Dental plan, you'd be looking at $400 monthly. So the other thing is, Delta Dental just provides a little bigger network. So that's why some groups, like Delta Dental as well.
Just out of curiosity, can you explain, because I'm not familiar with these as well, but the orthodontia coverage, the Delta Dental that's on the far right that says 1,500 lifetime, that essentially means what?
Yeah, just per dependent. So the other stuff you'll see at the second column towards the top, annual benefit maximum, that's $2,000. That's every benefit period a year. So every calendar year for anyone that's enrolled on the plan. Orthodontia is just a one-time lifetime maximum for dependents. So some groups have it, some groups don't, just because if you're paying the extra premium for the children, and it can only be used once. Sometimes it just doesn't.
So it'll be up to $1,500 per child,
Per child,
per
per
ever.
And you also see,
Okay,
so orthodontia is 50%, so let's say, I mean, braces are expensive, let's say it was $2,000, then they would pay $1,000, that'd be $1,000 to $1,500 for.
okay.
Yeah.
And you said something about, you
So,
didn't think that was necessary, the orthodontia coverage?
yeah, right now, I don't think any of us would need it. I mean, unless I'm the only one on.
I just want to make sure we talk to the other, you're the only family?
Zach is on it, I think.
I would just want to verify that, right? Because I wouldn't want to make the decision tonight that he's not gonna have orthodontia coverage and that
Mhm.
we're taking that away. I get the savings difference is what, $50 a month?
Yeah, we're not, it's the current plan doesn't have orthodontia, so we wouldn't be taking it away.
Okay,
We'd
it'd just
be
be an
adding
option to add it in.
And this is, of course, something we can add down the road anytime, once a year as well, but
And we have to select one plan out of the three.
yeah, so either sticking with the Blue Dental Wellmark plan with the slight increase or moving to one of the Delta plans.
So this is what I would say if the council's in agreement. I think it makes sense to say, hey, we want to move forward with the Delta, the middle plan. Confirming that our other family member doesn't need orthodontia, and should they need orthodontia, then the 384.
Okay.
The other thing they want to do is check with their current dental provider and make sure they accept Delta Dental and
Yeah,
not
that's it.
just.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, and I can send over just a provider list for Blue Dental and Delta Dental.
Okay,
I would empower you guys to make that decisions. I mean, the 400 to 338 or 384 is a decrease in cost
Yeah.
annually, so, or monthly, so. Cost is going down either way, right? So I'm good with that. You guys make the decision, but please consult the staff that it might impact.
we can do that.
Any other decision you need from us specifically?
Not on the dental, Nick's at the basic life and the AD&D.
Yep. Yeah, so Basic Life and AD&D, that's currently with MetLife, just got a little bit of numbers here. Just doing a little bit of math. Currently, it covers $20,000 Basic Life and accidental death and dismemberment per employee. So based on the current life premium and AD&D, you're looking at $77.40 monthly. We propose, you'll see Hartford coverage. You'll see if you move up from 20,000 per member to 25,000, your total premium covering the same amount of employees is $43 monthly. However, you could move up, if you wish, to move up to $50,000 coverage for each employee, and the life premium would be the same as what you're currently paying for every employee to have 20,000. Just the AD&D would tick up just a hair, but your total would be $9 more per month for everyone to have $30,000 more in coverage.
Does council have questions or thoughts on that?
Sorry, miss, where's the $9 a month? I'm not seeing.
The 12.
I see. I see.
And not everybody probably has that.
But we could get slightly better coverage
For
for $43.
Mhm.
We give this to every employee?
Yep.
We give this to every employee?
So we figured with the
Yep.
health insurance premium going up, we could deduct in other areas, but get better coverage still.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you'll see the only thing to note would be for the age reduction, so right above that first highlighted blue line. You'll see for, oh yeah, for current coverage, it doesn't deduct till somebody reaches age 70. But for the Hartford coverage, it would deduct 35% when somebody reaches 65. So based on that, they would have to be, I think, full-time eligible, still working at 65, so that probably wouldn't affect any
a
employee.
lot of our groups, yeah. Well, it looks to me like from a cost perspective, option one is the best option. If it was personally for me, I'd go to option two, but option one, I understand, seems to make sense.
Option one being $77, the.
4319 monthly.
You're talking.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, it's got the number one next to it across the top, sorry. 4319 a month as opposed to 7740 a month.
Same thing, if we're waiting to pull the employees, I think it's important to get what they want, but, yeah, nobody wants to use death benefits, so.
Right, and the other note on this is employer paid. So you can still pull employees, but this would be based on, they're not contributing to this, it's employer paid.
do we offer supplemental?
What's
Yeah, there's
that?
voluntary life.
So they do have supplemental option.
They do have the
Yeah,
option
they're
for
just-
voluntary.
Well,
I was gonna say $25,000 will barely put you in the ground.
Yeah.
Well, the cremation rate's rising, but
Yeah. Maybe sprinkle on some fields somewhere with that.
I think,
I feel like for the money, the number one,
Yeah, I'd say.
those looks good.
The middle.
They're all
Hartford, number one.
middle,
They're all critically rated, that's going away then.
that increases coverage, decreases cost.
Mhm.
The only is the upside risk at 65, but employees will know that, and we don't have anybody there.
Full-time for.
We don't have anybody there. The spouse coverage goes down by $500, I noticed.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
On those two decisions, I guess the bigger thing is overall health benefit. Comprehensively, still looking at six pieces. I think we can do that for housing land. Which. Obviously,
That's happening in December. Do we have a date for that?
So for the health insurance, John, what are we looking at?
So, I mean, it renews January 1st, so December 15th for these grandmother plans is when decision needs to be made to Wellmont.
Yeah, I think what Craig's asking about is just the broader evaluation of our employee benefits and how they compare to competitive wise. I'd like to see in the next year us look at and consider an additional health plan that's a high deductible plan, if we can add that in and what that looks like. I like that option. Some others might. It's a lot cheaper for the city. And we could consider contributing towards HSA to encourage that. So just something to look at in the next year. I know you're up against the gun now, so, but I think we all agree on that evaluation.
Well, and both for the city and the finance, like.
Employees, yep.
Yeah, found out, I heard rumors, but there's a benefit our employees I don't think are aware of.
Exactly. None of us are aware of it.
And there should be, I did ask that we do some sort of employee education on the benefits.
Yeah,
So we're gonna,
I'm happy to come down and meet with the current full-time eligible employees, provide all the information.
Yeah.
Yep.
Answer any questions.
if we could do that before they have to enroll, we would really, we haven't done that here ever. So
Do some groups I meet with every year, just sit in front of them, the employees answer questions, some groups.
I think an open enrollment meeting would be good for the employees.
You're coming down to do open enrollment, aren't you, John?
Have to.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, do we have a date set?
We just don't have.
we don't have a date yet, but I'm gonna check with our employees to see about the ortho and the none. And yeah,
And then
or the dental.
Then I get.
Their health insurance, that's just, that's what it is.
Correct.
I would do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good there. There was also some information included in this relating to the fire and EMS retirement program. Do we need to discuss some of that now, or is that
That's a separate
information
item.
at this point?
That's a separate item.
Okay, they're just sending the wrong item. All right, well,
A motion or not?
I think,
You
I
want
think,
motion?
Motion.
would you guys like motion to act on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a motion for the staff to make the benefit decisions and proceed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay, all right. Brenda is here. Brenda, this is catching.
Council and mayor and future council members. I think this is a first for our Ames Regional Economic Alliance office. As we have an award that we're gonna officially present to the city of Slater in January at a large event celebrating a number of accomplishments. So there's details in the box on that event, but we're starting to promote the awards that we're presenting that night and giving details on each of those projects out on social media and through some of our written communications. So we're gonna be awarding a community impact award for the Sportsplex project. And so specifically in our content, our comments and narrative, we're going to point to the private and public partnership on that particular project. We'll acknowledge the contribution from the county on that project, but thrilled to be able to talk at a broader audience and celebrate along with you on that great project that's got a lot going on now and has a future impact involved. And so the box jury includes all the details on the event, and share this around like the chocolates are sitting out there, and congratulations. And it's a great project and we're thrilled to celebrate with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Brenda. How do you all, this was, I think, a surprise to all of us. How does somebody win an award like this? Or how does this?
We seek input from some of our key stakeholders, and so this is an important project to the supervisors. They're very part of the project. We know that projects like this bring people to our county, and so this one, when it's all said and done, will probably be bigger than the SCORE project in Nevada. But what I would tell you is the amount of traffic that comes in and out of Nevada, because they have soccer fields and baseball fields and everything's in a general one area. And Julie knows this from her years of working in convention and tourism. It's amenities, and while they're in your community, they're spending money. And I always say a lot of times relocation starts with a trip to a community. And so it's a big deal and an investment on behalf of you all in supporting that project, and certainly with Craig and Julie's generous gift of land. And so excited, I mean, from fishing to soccer to baseball and softball, we're excited to watch this grow. Like I said, it'll be a great amenity here on a different end of our service territory. But yeah, we seek input from really kind of the folks that have a broader investment in our organization, and make sure things get and like I said, aside from recognizing your effort, it's also a great opportunity to put that out there so people know about it. We celebrate not only the awards at the event, which is a fun evening, and lots of folks. We actually have it at the Memorial Union. We fill that place with the event in January, but like I said, you'll start seeing the social media push out on that, and I'd say share that on your city stuff. If I don't see it, I'll remind you to do that as well. That's the world we live in. So excited. It's been fun to watch the partnership, and I really would point to Greg's efforts. He really was spent a lot of time in Slater, and that really made some good contributions. So it's certainly we're going through changes in our office. I was sharing with Julie that I'm going to be taking over Boone, our Boone efforts, but I said I'm holding on to Slater because you have a toehold in Boone County. So excited to be able to. I like to work in communities that are growing and have a lot going on, and I think that's how I describe Slater. So excited to spend a little bit more time with you moving into the future. So congratulations on the award. Love to see a group of you at the event. I'll share the date with Julie to make sure her and Craig are able to join us too. That would be fun to celebrate along with you. So happy holidays. We'll see you
Thanks, Brenda.
26.
Thank you, Brenda.
Appreciate it.
Cheryl, that information.
Wow.
Something just.
Yep.
Okay, now, this, yeah, thank you. Discussion and consideration of the state retirement program, LoSAP. I know Brant, you've done quite a bit of research on this, attended the webinars and those things. I just want to quantify, as we go into this discussion, the objective you're looking for out of this discussion is.
Whether or not there's support for it, for the most part, this is brought about by the Iowa legislature. And it would be a partnership with the Iowa Economic Development Alliance. And for every dollar that the city would contribute, the state would contribute $3. Per volunteer, it would affect, if it's supported EMS and volunteer fire department. So it would be per eligible EMS or fire volunteer firefighter up to $500 each year.
Okay. And so,
500 total, so
Total.
1 to 3. So
Total
it's
per volunteer.
Yeah, so basically,
100 for Slater.
the goal would be if the city would contribute $167, then we would get 500 on top of that from the program.
and that 500 is contributed to individuals who meet the point system and qualify. The point system was in here.
Yeah.
Or is this the point system you would utilize?
I'm still wanting to fine tune it a little bit. Reading on it, there's the example that IFA gave out had a maximum amount, and then they had a few other categories, but as officers, we had a meeting on this, and this is the main point system we came up with. So for now, that's kind of what we're looking at, but there's a lot of things to finalize. If he decides to move forward, that number one is we have to have a resolution.
Approving the point system too. Okay.
Approving the whole program.
Yeah. When you get to the, is there questions about the,
Is this point system only fire? There's a different one for EMS.
It'd be a little different.
Yeah, I'm
And it's-
on station hours and stuff like that, cause I've got a garage,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
there's nothing to do with it.
You know, you wanna make it, the whole goal of the whole thing was recruiting, participation and retention, you know. Main thing is getting new firefighters, new EMS, making them hopefully wanna stay on for a long time and then getting them to participate.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely supporting the concept.
Yeah.
Only question I had in your points was, as I said.
Right,
does
no.
EMS do the same
And
thing?
we, Chad and I, we haven't all sat down together yet. It's came not fast because they said it's been working for 10, 15 years trying to get this program going. But it's moving fast to try and get signed up. They want it done by January 31st, which is
okay.
a little quick.
Yeah, it's interesting because on the statute, it gives you a schedule, signups application deadline of August 1 through September 30. But the information that's on the,
So that was, I think that was, like when I signed up with Iowa Firefighters Association, I put our roster in for that. So I was talking to Chad how we move forward with EMS. So there's a lot of particulars to figure out, but the main thing is don't want to spend too much more time on it if there's going to be any issues. So, and I don't know, you know, with the resolution, I know they've got to be
Yeah.
read 3 times.
right, and the state's website, though, does say December 1 through January 30th, so.
I think, like, is everybody supportive of it? The only thing I was gonna ask about is about points. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I think my question is probably the same thing. Is this just gonna be for every volunteer, or you're gonna have a cutoff level of points where the ones that make these points get the contribution?
Only
Yeah.
ones that make the points.
And that's that top 100 points you have to get in a year.
Yeah, you have to get 100 points. That's
Okay.
participation.
Year?
Yes, per year.
What's some of the activity? What are, like, attending meetings, responding to calls?
Yeah, call it's all right
Yeah,
here.
Meetings, calls, events.
Yeah.
Training.
Professional development.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. And, you know, on the fire department, our biggest heartache, I guess you could say, is getting people to come up to training. Trainings, and we've come a long ways over the last several years,
Yeah.
but it's still hard to get people to, you know, there's no motivation for it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might be on just for the shirt.
Yeah.
Some people, so.
Question in that vein, it did seem weird to me that the social events have more points than some of the. They actually go to a call.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more.
Almost 40 calls a year, we only have 8 of those. And
Way more calls.
Yeah, you don't award too many for the calls, you know, cause it. Bring it up,
Well, this isn't set in stone.
no,
We can flex this.
yeah,
It'll
Yeah,
have to
start
be,
someplace.
it'll have to be established at some point,
Yeah.
as set in stone.
yeah, I mean, getting a resolution to go through
Yeah,
for us to even apply is gonna be hard.
yeah, I was the same as Craig, just like, oh man, there's a lot for those. I get it. Getting to 100 points seems like a lot, so. It makes sense to me, but I
I
think
mean,
to your training point, like maybe your training's worth a little bit more if you're trying to get better people more involved in trainings, but. I would obviously leave that to you guys' discretion and, but those would just be some thoughts on the initial schedule is like, man, going to the fun events gets you the best rewards.
right,
If you hit all of those and you hit a call or two, you're getting the bonus. And how much are you actually, you're serving for sure, and I would never want to discount that, but. Those are easy to go to, I
Yeah,
feel like,
those are
so,
like I said. After, knowing what's gonna happen after tonight. That'll make things move quickly.
I'd like a motion to,
One last question.
yep, go ahead if we still got some, sorry.
I have two questions. This last one, 7 point per event, participation in a qualifying community event. I'm assuming you have to show up and help, not just show up and for fun.
Yes,
You might clarify that
Yeah.
in the,
don't disagree there.
and what's. Like I get, this is some kind of retirement account. What do you get? When you.
So-
When you retire?
There's a vesting schedule we have to approve too.
Mhm.
I've heard it's 3, 5, or 10 years. My only concern there is people like me that have been on 27 years start over. I'm not gonna be on for 5 more years. I'm recommending a 3-year vesting schedule. My question is gonna be, is if that can change for new firefighters to make them longer.
Right.
So that's what I'd like to look there. But then at the end, when you retire, you're done. That's your money.
So
It's
you
like
just
it's a
get
investment.
500
like-
times however many years, you get that back?
Plus growth, it would be invested.
Whatever the
The
investment.
city has to establish like a for.
Do you get a lump sum back?
That I'm not sure.
It's all new, so I think the application is,
Yeah.
it's kind of unknown, right? It's probably in Ways and Means right now to determine how to.
Yeah, because there's, from what I've seen and the people I've talked to, a lot of cities don't have an investment firm necessarily, so there's one that the Iowa Firefighters Association had on a webinar that is kind of the main one, I think a lot of people. Talking with some of the other, or 2 of the other departments anyway, Huxley has already approved a resolution and Cambridge set their budget.
Can we look at the resolution?
And if it loses money, then you don't.
I mean, it's basically just like a almost 401k type retirement.
You reach out to what's his name and ask for that resolution that actually passed.
If where you'll have your own login. to,
Oh, individuals can make their
Yes.
choice.
Yeah, it's their own account.
That's something firefighter association, there'll be the front end we can use, is there fees associated with handles inside and.
Just whatever it goes pretty minimum, so. But the Iowa Firefighters Association is just, they're the ones that got this bill passed.
Yep.
And so they're kind of helping.
Okay. I just didn't know what the investment advice.
Like,
Yeah,
I think the original concept of this at the State House was that similar to IPERS, that the state would fund the process so that it doesn't come out of their.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, who has to pay
their
the.
Gaming on it, but I don't think any of that's set up yet.
yeah.
One other thing I looked at was, and I don't want to look over your spreadsheet, but you've got call responses that might take 20 minutes and you got call responses that might take you 4 hours, grass fire, I mean, and stuff. Any differential of, I mean, you have guys that have to leave. Some they've responded, but they have to leave because they can't stay for the duration or.
You're talking
is that
calls or training?
Calls.
Calls, yeah. I mean, that's why we get paid $5 no matter if it's.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, is that there are differential points for that either?
I think that's kinda why
You got the paperwork to keep
The
track.
point's low, because sometimes we'll get to the station.
Yeah.
And then it's
call's
all
low.
off. You fill out your run sheet.
Right.
So that's 3 points. It
Yeah.
might be a house fire over there for
Yeah.
7 hours.
Right.
Yep. Craig, you had a question? Did you get it answered?
Yeah, I'm supportive, so.
Okay.
Is this only for fire EMS or is it volunteer in general?
Just fire and EMS.
All right.
Jerry has two points he wanted to make sure to touch on, and then we'll move into a
Yeah,
motion.
I just want to make sure that the council knew that the city's contribution, we cannot levy for that. We cannot use the employee benefits levy because the volunteers do not meet the threshold for IPERS, which is $1,000 per quarter in 2 consecutive quarters, or 1,040 or more hours in a calendar year. So they would not likely meet those 2 thresholds.
So it'll just have to become a budget line item.
Right.
We asked that question of the city attorney, and that's what he referenced.
I saw that,
was the
I was
IPERS.
curious, that seems like different rules.
Mhm.
Cause I still pay my $1 or whatever for diapers.
Yeah, that's what he referenced.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, this is gonna take some administrative work mostly on the part of Lindsay, so I wanted to make sure that she was aware of it. Because it's so new, we don't really know what's gonna be involved, but total, we have about how many? Less than 50.
You had a maximum exposure.
4175, 25 firefighters, $4,175 would be the max.
So we'd have to set
Per
up
year.
probably accounts for
And
each
EMS
representative.
with 12 was $2,004 for a total of $6,179 a year.
Maximum exposure. All right.
I think it's reasonable as long as there isn't, that's what's asking the questions about the hidden costs of who has to administer and all those things and.
I was just-
And that's all I-
Comments about
So it'd be
setting
just like a regular retirement. so it'd
Do you have any
be
comments?
individuals,
We'll figure
you
it,
know,
we just figure it out.
now.
About the phone.
All right, then.
I move we
I'm here to support.
approve.
Thank you, Ken.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Okay. Let's move to the next line item. Consideration of resolution number 25, acceptance of water sewer improvements to Trailside Development Plat 2. It's done. That's completed.
Done.
Signed off by
Yep.
Snyder as
Yep.
well. Any questions about that? Everybody remembers what that is? There's 2 new lots up there. Well, right?
The deed for all the outlets have been recorded and filed with the Story County Recorder's Office, which is a part of this also. And as the mayor said, you have a copy of the certificate of completion from Snyder Associates and a copy of the deed that was recorded, as well as all of the additional required platting documents that were filed and recorded.
If there are not any questions about that process for Jerry, Lindsay, or Julie who's here.
Just for the ignoramus, this is the first time I've gone through this basically. Basically, this means you guys pay for a street, we plow it.
Well, this is for water and sewer,
Sure, yeah.
for plat 2, which
Right.
is, we went through kind of the
Yep.
reconfiguration. It was gonna be platted for 6 lots. They changed that to just 2 larger lots.
Right,
And part of that work included the developer extending the water and the sewer.
right.
To the
Which
two
they did,
more
and you
plots.
donate to us, and the next time it breaks, we have to fix it.
This is assuming the future liability of whatever's associated with it
If was a street,
effectively.
Once you
They
approve,
order
if you
street,
approve it,
they
it's the
accept it.
city's responsibility.
Yep.
Okay. Sure, from that sentence inside that they did.
Joel,
I would move to approve. Resolution number 25.
I'll second.
all those in favor signify with aye.
I,
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, resolution number 26, setting date for January 12th, 2025 for a public hearing on setting rate increases for water and sewer and to amend chapter 92 water and chapter 99 sewer.
And Heidi should be on the call.
Heidi's on the call as well. So just to clarify what you need from us now, do we need to in this moment determine what we're setting the hearing regarding, or we will make that decision after the hearing, correct? We do not have to make that decision tonight on which direction we're going.
No, it's.
We will
primarily
make that
setting the
public.
hearing.
Okay, so let's just set the
But if there's
hearing.
questions, Heidi is on the call.
The only thing I would ask is we'll set the public hearing, a new council will make the approvals. I would just ask the 3 outgoing council members thoughts on which direction they would vote if they were voting on that tonight. Heidi, I didn't mean to not let you talk, but is there anything?
No, that's perfect. Yes, so tonight is just setting that hearing. I guess the only thing I would notice is that if you are not making a decision on which option you would like, and you want to have that first reading, you'll want to have an ordinance prepared for each of those options, so that you can potentially have that first reading at that January meeting.
Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna go down the line. Sue, do you have thoughts on water and sewer rates or the strategy to approach this? Love to hear them.
Water rate, yeah, I think we need to do it. I think it's a good idea to build in inflationary increases. If it's me, I'm probably gonna I would go for the 3%, but I would honor if the majority of council wants to go with 4%, fine.
Okay,
Do you want to?
let's, Ken, water, do you have, let's do the water quick. 3% inflation or 4%?
There's no way we're gonna hit 4%. It's gonna be more than 4%, so I think you gotta be at that level.
Do the 4% inflation, Sean?
The same thing, I think probably 4%.
Okay. Craig,
I'll
and I'll come back to you, Joel. I wasn't
agree on
speaking.
4%. I think that's where inflation's headed.
Okay,
My only question is, our base rate versus the cubic feet. We haven't really talked about, we just says flat line increase. And I guess I'm curious about what is kind of our fixed cost to have a meter at somebody's house. So I think that should mirror that, and then our variable rate is how much water you use, and I really have no idea of what's our meter cost, what's it cost to keep our systems up, what's it cost to run a bill, all those things. So that's my only questions. To me, that's what our meter cost should be, is what does it actually cost us to have water hooked up to your house? And then the rest of the money needs to come out of the per cubic foot. And I have no idea if 50 is too high, too low, I don't know what.
okay. So I hear that it would be helpful if we could have the data related to, you know, what the meter costs. Maybe what type of costs are associated with billing.
Right,
And
all of those fixed costs.
The fixed costs associated with water, if you could come up with a figure based on that, that would be helpful when we make that decision
And that's,
after the next public hearing.
that's part of what Heidi looks at too, is how much of your infrastructure do you put on per meter versus the highest users probably need to pay a little more infrastructure, because we wouldn't need as much infrastructure if they were all low volume users.
And I'm
So
not
there's-
expecting a precision.
No.
Because there's gonna be a
No.
lot of swagging involved, but.
So there's a balance in there, and that's what, I think what Heidi addressed, and you can correct me, Heidi, but was what she looked at was what we currently have, and that looked pretty fair by that division that was
Okay.
had. Is that how you would say it, Heidi?
Yeah, that's very fair. Especially with related to the water right now, the rates are what I'll consider low, especially when you look at them from the sewer standpoint. And so, you know, just looking at those minimal increases, just hitting you know, all those users from a percentage standpoint, so that it still is hitting those higher users at a higher, you know, at higher dollar amounts from that percentage standpoint, but it's also keeping some more consistent revenue coming in. Just to kind of give you an idea for the water, the difference between 3% and 4% just for next year is really $3,500 into that account. So it's not, you know, really a really big make or break figure. I would say the majority of and a significant amount of the costs for the water are, you know, we're looking at from an operating standpoint are a lot of the salaries, you know, a lot of the salaries and utilities. It would be the majority of that. So once you start looking at doing some, you know, some major upgrades and repairs and things like that, we'll probably look to try to put more of that onto a usage rate. But just for this kind of catch up and where you're at right now, I kind of just put it flat on both of those to you know, kind of hit from a percentage standpoint everybody equally.
Yeah, my only concern there is the word equally. I'm not sure how that all goes without having better information to back it up. Cause yeah, using Syngenta as an example, they have 1 meter, I assume, but my God, they run a lot of water through there. Greenhouse alone. I used to work there. So that I don't have the best way to balance that, but
Right.
right now I'm just saying it's 4%, and I don't know if it should be 0 and 10 or what it should be. Because yes, we're definitely not collecting enough.
Joel? 4% or 3% guy?
Oh, 4.
Okay. I'm just hearing that there's consensus here. We don't have to make the decision tonight, but I'm hearing 4% from 3 people, I think. I'm hearing Craig ask a little bit about, he'd like to see it. Maybe more of a usage. I do think,
Fine with the 4.
I do think,
that's
yeah.
what it is.
I do think the other thing to think about is, we know that through capital planning that water improvements are on the horizon. That's gonna throw all this out the window a little bit when we do those evaluations, so I think, if we do the 4%. I would say if you guys will prep the resolution or ordinance for the 4%, it sounds like that's what will be supported. I don't know that the new council will come in and really fight that $3,500 or 1% difference. I'm not seeing any head shakes or nods. So if you prepare that resolution that way, do you guys have concerns about that for the next meeting in January? You're okay with that? Okay. Let's go to the sewer ones quick then, and if there's no more on that. Sewer, we have 3 different options here that she's presented us with, right? Obviously, just a flat increasing the sewer rates with no debt payoff. Then we have 1 debt payoff. I asked Lindsay this before the meeting. Option 2 pays off a loan that's 671 or 617,000 at a 1.75% rate.
1.75%.
Rate. Option 3 pays off that 1.7, that 671 at 1.75, as well as another 600 and so at 0.82%.
And we think those.
We
are
have
fixed
What
rates?
rate?
0.82.
Oh,
Yeah.
8.
Nope, 0.82. There's one other loan. There's one other loan that's the larger loan that I believe is 6 million.
Mhm.
That loan is also at a 1.75. So basically, if we were to pay off, is that accurate, Heidi? Anything to jump in there?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so if we go with option 2, we'd be paying off the smaller of the 1.75% loans, bonds, and we would only utilize that out of the sewer fund, that cash, the 617 or 71,000 out of the, is it 71 or 17? Do you remember?
I think it's 617.
617, we think. She's gonna verify out of that'd leave the sewer fund obviously really healthy.
671.
671, okay, so 671 is option 2. We could pay down some on the larger loan, that's another 1.75% and leave the 0.82% loan. Or option 3 is obviously pay off, $1.3 million of 2 loans made up of 1.75 and 0.82 interest rates. And that allows us in theory to leave the sewer rates, the base rate and the inflationary rate flat.
But also we figured out what's the servicing fee on those 2 bonds per year.
0.25%. So,
Yeah, but isn't it a straight up fee as well?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, what is that? Do you know? I think
So it's
that's
it's a 0.25%. So that 1.75% is essentially a 2%, and then that 0.82 is essentially, a 1.07.
It's like 20,
Yeah.
20,000, right?
671, 1% would be 6,700, so a 1/4% would be $1,800.
Well, I'm thinking of what was the last one where we looked
yeah,
at
so it
the,
was like $50,000.
That was on the big one.
On the big.
That was on just the big one.
That was on the
I got you.
6.2 million, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so
That 4%.
we're gonna just go down the line again. Sue, thoughts on the sewer, what you think?
I have a hard time raising rates when we have a lot of money in our accounts. What are we saving up our money for?
Yep.
I'm open to listening, but that's my question. I get it that it seems silly to pay off money that that we borrowed low percentage rates, but what
Yep.
are we saving up this money for?
Heidi, you came off mute. Did you have a comment there or just background?
Yeah, I think, last time it was brought up that there is some potential projects that are coming up that are about the same amount in the sewer that we're looking at paying off that would potentially have a higher interest rate than what is outstanding. And so that was when we want to take a look at maybe keeping these loans in place. Because if you have to pay off these loans and then go ahead and put some higher interest rates, and you're kind of back at zero again. So I'm not sure, where those potential projects are at this point. But just that's where we put a few options in front of the council to potentially one, pay off 2 loans, or pay off none, and then I put kind of one in the middle in case the council wanted to maybe mitigate the potential rate increases that you're looking at.
Perfect.
Well, normally I would have thought about paying off both, like Sue said, paying off both of these and getting rid of 2 of those. But at our budget meeting, we talked a little bit about, Mark was talking about lining some of the sewers in the part of town, which has more to do with stormwater than actual sewer. But that all comes out of the same enterprise fund, right?
Sure.
So I think it might be good to pay off the higher one and then leave the other one. Because I think where we're gonna view those and line some of those is gonna happen sooner rather than later. And rather than pay it all off now and then have to let a bond to be able to line some of those would be stupid, because we're gonna end up paying a higher interest rate on a new bond. Plus all the new bonding fees that would go along with it. So I think you're maybe better to play middle of the road for now and save some of that money to do some of those linings.
So option 2.
That's what I'm hearing from Kim.
Yeah.
Which is $1.75 increase in 26 for base rate and 37 cents per 100 cubic feet in usage. And then that increase, basically it's a 3.5% increase, then a 2% increase, 2% increase up to 2028.
Cool.
Do you like option 2?
I'll probably lean the same way.
Unfortunately, one, I think with the CIP, not knowing what we're actually gonna settle in. With the expenses that Ken talked about with we have a bond thing, higher interest rate, we have to pay in the future. We just got a lot of unknowns going on right now.
Okay.
And so I guess my leaning would be towards 1, 2 would be my second, and 3, I think giving up another $750,000 in light of all of the unknowns with property taxes, and there's a lot of stuff that are out of our control. Haven't established a minimum reserve, so we talk about it 6 mil, but they have a reserve that we're looking at too. So that would take away half our reserve. Both of them. So 1 would be my first choice, 2 would be my fallback.
Except these are enterprise funds, so these are funded out of their own income. They're not
Correct.
funded,
But that
you're
money
not
can't be
talking
transferred.
about the reserve that's in our general fund. That's not what.
But that money can't be transferred on council resolution.
Could, but it'd be crazy to use general fund money to fund an enterprise fund. We don't do that.
No, I think he's talking about the opposite way. He's talking about moving sewer money to fund other things.
You can't use it to fund anything but sewer and storm out of that.
I think we've talked about this before. I think there's different legal opinions, I think, but
Can I ask one question, probably for Heidi? If with option 1, no paying off debt. Do we have to have like the 8.5% bump? That's coming March? Do we have to have that big of a bump?
Yeah, that is
getting compliance.
with compliance of the bonds to make sure you have 110% of the payment available after your operating revenues and expenditures. So that's really, that 8.5% is really just getting you to the point where you are in compliance within the sewer fund.
Nope, go ahead.
I guess in that same vein, if we come out of all of the unknowns right now and we look good, it still doesn't mean we can't say that we're gonna do no increase next year and pay off one of the bonds. So I'm only kicking the can down the road. I know it's a little cowardly. I'm only suggesting kicking the can down the road because there's just so many things up in the air right now.
Right now, the sewer account has $1,749,621.55. Paying off the two bonds is $1,351,000. That would leave us, if we were to do both, the sewer fund would have $398,621.55. Heidi, that number would grow because our cost would be less, so that we would be growing that number every year, right? Because we'd be within compliance of 110% or well beyond that if we pay those two off, right? So
Correct.
was there any analysis given to, well, it's more of a Lindsay question, I guess, how much those loans are costing us on an annual basis right now? Does that make sense? Because those funds would now just be remaining in the sewer fund and building. Do we know that off the top of our heads, what we're paying annually on those two loans that we're talking about not paying off?
I don't know.
If you can look it up. Julie, do you have a thought on this? You're gonna be sitting at this desk. Did you know that answer, Heidi? Sorry.
I do. Give me just a
Okay.
second. Yep.
No problem. I'm gonna ask some audience questions. Do you have a thought, Julie?
Well, I don't think you wanna spend all the money out of that sewer, so. Pulling the road and seems like the best option.
It's 110,000 that it would clear up.
Here.
It's 110,000 that it'll clear up. It's about $50,000 payment for the High Trestle Trail, and it's about a $61,000 payment on the 2017 SRF sewer upgrade.
Perfect, thank you. So you generate that in free cash flow in theory to invest in your pipeline in that. We've talked about the sewer fix options. I think there was an option that was 20,000 and then there was a $200,000 option. I believe Public Works has revisited the $200,000 option and is more likely to come back and ask us to do that. Is that your interpretation as well?
Say that again.
That on the waste, down at the wastewater treatment plant, instead of doing the $20,000, that now they're talking about the repiping maybe is a better option?
I have not heard anything since.
Okay. But Public
any
Works did
detail-
come in and say that they've
There was a
had a
discussion
different
about it.
thought. Okay. So that could be
Nothing has
coming,
been-
so there could be that 200,000 just for backstory. Russ, do you have any thought? Okay, AJ, I'm guessing you have a thought.
Definitely option two, and for paying off the loan, bring us back under that 110%. So that would help a ton, and I also agree it was option one on that for the sewer plant fix. It's not a good option. So, I mean, you're
Okay.
gonna cause so many more issues down the pipeline with aerating your settling pond. Now you're going to a place that's not aerated anymore, where it's all gonna settle. Now you're gonna have a bunch of sedimentation in your pad. That's a whole nother story, but anyways, option two, I think is definitely the better option.
Okay.
To get you under that. And hopefully, so.
And a 3.5% increase is what that is. So let's prep option, let's prep option two. Cause I'm hearing that that seems to be the resounding new council and current council's position. Any other questions on that stuff? Heidi, we appreciate you joining us virtually. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your work on this. I need a motion to set the public
Make a
hearing.
motion to.
January
approve
12th.
Resolution number 26, set the date for January 12th.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, signify with the sign aye. Opposed, any abstentions? We're gonna move now down to the, looks like we've finally gotten to public, resolution 27, date, public hearing on proposal to enter into a first amendment to the agreement of private development with GISM regarding Severs Industrial Plat 1. This is essentially to,
It'd be the First Amendment to the development agreement
yep,
to support an extension on the TIF for 10 additional years. And to allow tax abatement to be applied for future business owners who purchase lots in that development.
Yep.
Again, it's just to set the hearing.
Craig and I have talked about this outside of the public forum. Craig had done some research. Do you want to share some of that? Craig? Did you come prepared? My interpretation, obviously, was that pricing was different. Then Craig did some research and found the pricing stuff to be a little bit different.
Jerry has this information. Feel free to share it if you want. I did some comparisons on small towns near interstate. I looked at Huxley. Right now, the current lots are being advertised here between $3 and $5 a square foot. Looked into Huxley. The order I have them here. This is Elkhart. They're between theirs are 275 to 270. One's at $4 a square foot, one's at $7. So the majority of Elkhart is cheaper. It is not advertising tax abatement. Washington has one. Washington, again, on the interstate, they're a little better than this, obviously. They're $30,000 an acre, so a lot cheaper. Anthem is $250 to $3 on the remaining lots they have. Again, no tax abatement advertised. And Adel is $3.25 to $4.10. So
What did you have? What did Severs put at?
$3 to $5.
And so I think I guess Craig's, if I'm gonna speak for you just here, no resistant to tax abatement, more resistance to extending TIF.
I don't want to extend the TIF. Right now, you know, we had talked earlier about his pricing was more competitive. And, you know, to make us a more competitive option, we needed to have the price of the abatement and the ability for him to recoup. I'm not saying that sometime in the future that maybe a TIF agreement extension is not acceptable, but I don't see any reason to it now. The more incentive we get him to get started on the TIF, we get our money back also, because otherwise, the longer we delay this, there's not the incentive to get businesses out there so we can get our money recouped also. And on the abatement, I don't know the ramifications, Jerry, unless you guys do. I don't know how you cherry pick who gets abatement and who doesn't, if it's a blanket or if it's, you know, that's not a desirable business. That one is. I don't know how you balance that. I don't know if it's legal, what's ethical.
Yeah, I think there's an application and those come to city council for action.
Okay, but what we could say no is like, how do you tell one company yes, one company no? I don't know how that works. I know we all have our biases, but there's highly desirable things and less desirable things. So I would like that as an option, but we may on tax abatement if we choose to, and I would like to delay the TIF until we get through that window. So there is a sunset at 10 years to incentivize, and if bad things happen, you know, or what the circumstance may be, you know, we don't die an implosion, then we extend it if it's appropriate then, but we're extending it another 10 years before we even started it, correct? Have we actually implemented it yet?
I think we haven't accepted the final project.
There's a 10-year tax abatement.
No, sorry, the TIF.
TIF.
We're asking to extend the TIF for 10 more years
yeah.
before we even started that way.
I think I misspoke. There's a tax increment financing, urban renewal for 10 years. Currently.
But have we started that? Has it been initiated yet?
No, because they haven't sold any lots.
That's what I thought, so I guess sometime, let's get going.
So I just wanted Craig to share that backstory because he brought it to me. Council discussion.
I think abatement's a good way to get business in there. But I also don't think it works for the original TIF agreement. I mean, I see the need to extend it. I think we're gonna battle, I guess I haven't looked through the prices that you did, but we'll battle the whole business from Huxley to Slater. Without some incentive or Elkhart.
Yeah, so you're for tax abatement, but talk to me about, are you for extending the TIF agreement 10 years and the why for that?
I don't know if I wanna go full 10 years, but
Or do you want to kick the can to the next council?
maybe kick the can to them.
Joel, you're for abatement? You want to do TIF or?
TIF guy. So no.
Ken?
I like how TIF works overall, but it makes a lot of sense to not extend it 10 years when we haven't even started this TIF agreement and see where that's gonna end up.
So,
What Ken said.
all right, so we're supportive of the tax abatement. We do not want to extend the TIF for 10 years at this time. So if you could prepare that information for the development agreement for the public hearing, but I'll take a motion to set the public hearing on January 12th, 2026.
So just for clarification.
And then will you make sure Scott is notified of this?
The document
and when
that
the
you
public hearing
have
is?
before you addresses both.
And so I'm saying we need to make,
City attorney prepare both. And that's, so this will need to be
that's what I'm saying,
revised and the developer will need to re-sign it.
but we could still set the public hearing.
Correct.
So we're gonna set the public hearing for January 12th. What the development agreement's gonna be adjusted to say is it'll run on the originally confirmed timeline. It will include tax abatement. Assuming Scott signs that. Should he not sign it, then the public hearing happens and he didn't sign it, and so we can't take any action. And there's no extension on the 10-year TIF.
So my only question was, so any business that comes in will get tax abatement?
I think what he said is we will
There would be an
review those
application.
applications to
Be
here.
reviewed.
We'll have to look at the legal basis as to what we can and can't give. We'll have to look at a legal foundation as to how and when we can deny or accept or approve those.
And potentially set criteria for how you're gonna make that decision so that it has some degree of consistency.
Yes,
Before.
that's my
tax
concern.
abatement.
Okay, this, I thought we
For
had a
this.
tax abatement code.
We
So
do.
right now, people have to apply. So I guess I'm not sure what we're passing. Maybe I'm being dull here.
We're adjusting the development agreement because we can't offer TIF without it being in we can't
Oh.
offer abatement without the development agreement. So all we're doing is we're amending the development agreement and we're holding a public hearing to make that amendment.
Okay,
And I don't know that it needs to be documented or if there's an opportunity to document that it certainly does not inhibit, or the intention is not to potentially lengthen it if we find that need 10 years from now to make that developer whole. But it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do it now and lock up those TIF monies if we don't need to. So
Yeah.
we don't have any other options of use of that. We're almost better to make a new TIF agreement that would then allow us to recapture some of that rather than lengthen it.
Yeah.
Or certainly lengthen it now.
Hopefully in 10 years, we're extending to do some more development or some maybe. So that's what the amendment, that's what the change to the documents in front of you, the development agreement will have. But I'll take that motion for the public hearing on the 12th. We're not approving anything. We're just setting a public hearing.
Move we set a public hearing for January 12th.
Okay.
Second from Craig. All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? We're gonna move down here. We're looking at, well.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a few, is that the change order now? Discussion and consideration, change order 3 in the amount of minus 13,585 for the Severs Light Industrial Park. Plat 1, water and sewer utility extension project, and we have JEO here with us, Kurt. The floor is yours. Thanks for being back.
You bet. So Kurt Cameron with JEO. Glad to see everybody tonight. We have 4 agenda items for you tonight, all related to closing out the project for the extension of water and sanitary sewer to the Severs Industrial Park. That first agenda item is change order number 3. That has a couple different components to it. The first is, and it's a credit of 13,585 in total. The first part of that is because the contractor, they were able to get to their substantial completion date, but then getting the punch list completed from substantial to final took them quite a bit of time, which caused the city to incur some additional costs. And so that $7,585 credit is basically reimbursing the city. The second credit is for a sanitary sewer cleaning allowance. Of the sanitary sewer, there was a couple sanitary sewer segments that were slightly below the design slope. And so the way that we've handled that in the past is just by setting up a sanitary sewer cleaning allowance that allows the city to go back and do cleaning of that sanitary sewer at different points in time in the future. So that was a credit of $6,000. And then the final part of that change order was just the actual time adjustment from a contractual final completion standpoint. from when it was originally scheduled to when the contractor actually completed that here in November. The next item there, if I just kind of go ahead and touch on each of those, is pay estimate number 6. That is using the SRF convention of pay applications, the pre-final pay estimate. Because there was no work done from substantial completion to today, there were no additional items that would get billed during that time. And so we just took the $13,000, $585 credit and took that out of retainage. So that's why you see a pay estimate of 0, which is a little bit unusual, but that's just kind of how it worked out based on timing. And then pay estimate number 7 is just that final release of retainage in the amount of $9,523.77. And then the last item there is just the acceptance of public improvements effective of this November.
Can you talk to us a little bit about this sanitary additional cleaning allowance and what you guys, what's below and what we can expect as a reoccurring or, you know, how big, it's obviously not that big of an issue if your recommendation is to go this route, but can you talk to us about that?
Sure. So when we go through and do the as-built, we're confirming the inverts that the sanitary sewer is actually constructed in comparison to what was designed. We designed it for 0.4, and there were a couple that were in the 0.34 to 0.36.
And what is that figure for 0.4?
It's the slope.
Okay.
Yep, so it's the slope that the sewer is at to maintain a minimum velocity so that things, you know, naturally get flushed. And so with that being so close to the design value, kind of the easiest way to account for that is just to have them set aside some money for the city to be able to do cleaning at just 4 different times is kind of what we figure over the next 20 years.
4 times over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is based on a collection of solids at the bottom of the pipe. Or you sort of.
So jetting.
And so you gotta clean these things more frequently.
Okay.
Because we don't have the water you need to clean it correctly.
As that development fills and increases, does that help with the problem or improve the problem?
That would help, yes. These
Okay.
Have more water that's going.
That's what I assumed. Just wanted to verify. Okay.
Have you had circumstances like this before?
We actually did the Weeks project here 3-4 years ago. We ran into a similar situation and handled it through this means as well.
And, well, not that far. And are your projections usually pretty correct? As far as like, you guys clean?
Yeah, I don't believe, I could ask Mark, but I don't think he's cleaned that sanitary sewer at all.
I don't think so.
So you, it's not been around for maybe 10 or 15 years.
Sure.
This is the projection hold of 5 years. You have to do jetting, an additional jetting beyond what you normally have to do.
Yeah, I mean, normally for sanitary sewer, the general recommendation, if you're getting to a typical sanitary sewer, that's not a problem issue every 10 years, you're doing real well. So this gives us that opportunity to, you know, do that 4 additional times over the course of. So it should be more, should be fine.
Okay. AJ, I was hoping you'd nod.
That's just kind of.
What we do on site.
That's why I'm asking this.
Yeah. Not a huge percentage off, so. Yeah, once it fills it out, you're good. It's the time in between that it's gonna be problems. When you get those low flows. That's when everything likes to back up.
So I'm going to ask for a motion here on change order 3, change order 6, and change order 7. Or final pay application 7. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Change order 3, pre-final pay application 6, final pay application 7. I'll take a motion to approve all 3.
To approve those 3?
All second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
I move to approve resolution number 28,
Which is the same topic.
which is the acceptance of.
Yep.
Improvements we just talked about.
Well,
Sewage.
so this is water and sewer, or water and sewer is all we're accepting.
Same.
But we're only accepting water and sewer because there is supposed to be light poles out there, right? This
Right,
doesn't
this is rural
accept the
sewer.
full project. It says water and sewer, just want to make sure.
Yeah, this would.
Yeah, this is just to close out. the
Okay,
project.
and there is supposed to be light poles out there, right, Kurt?
That would be outside of any.
Okay, your scope, all right.
Yep.
Try to get you on the hook for it. All those in favor, we got,
No, we need-
motion one, we need a second from Craig down there. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? We have some updates here on the entrance trail wayfinding sign quotes. Jerry? Thanks, Kurt, for being here. Appreciate it. Please speak up.
There's not like a clean out access out there where you can, where like, for instance, when you flush the hydrant, you could dump that right directly into that. Fine.
Yeah, so roughly every 350 to 400 feet, there's a sanitary man out there. So that's your access points for your
Okay.
sanitary. sewer.
So when,
That's fine.
so rather than flush hydrants directly onto the street and go into a stormwater, you could potentially open that and flush. Did you do that? Can you do that right into that?
You got air gap issues, possible contamination. But it's exposed right in to the sanitary manual, dirty environment, you don't have air gap.
Okay.
There's issues with that, but
Okay.
yeah, it's possible. But then you're, it's,
All right,
Just be in that interim before you get it fully up and
maybe
running.
some money instead of. Copy of this, so it wasn't very fix it.
No. No, yeah.
okay, Jerry,
Next item. Entrance wayfinding and trail signs. This was on the agenda at the last city council meeting. There was a request or action to approve with a request for staff to reach out for quotes. We did start with the local company, Iowa Plains and Signing. Company, met them on the where the west entrance is on Highway 210. Provided all the information from the Parks and Rec board, as well as the community visioning project that addressed this project. And in the end, they determined that with their process, they could not produce the signs that were being requested, primarily like the entrance type signs.
Iowa Plains, this is.
Iowa Plains, yeah, so because of that, I reached out to Sign Pro and Ames and also Iowa Prison Industries. And they provided quotes for the entrance sign. There's 4 of those. Two primary or major signs. There's actually 4 total for those. 2 of those would be on R38. And then 2 of them would be on Highway 210. Highway 210 is a state road, and so the DOT determines what those signs look like. So if you look at the Sign Pro, that's like what the cost would be for one of those. It's actually a 3-panel sign with a cap on top that would have the city's logo. So again, Sign Pro would have the 4 entrance signs, 2 primary major signs, secondary or in-town signs, there's 2 of those, and then 4 trail signs, plus the 2 DOT signs totals $4,380. The quote from Iowa Prison Industries is incomplete because they did not provide what the cost would be to produce those DOT signs. But with the same number excluding the 2 DOT signs that would be required, the total would be $5,044.60. So of the 2, Sign Pro was a lesser amount. Which would be the recommendation. And again, that's only for entrance. The primary or major road signs. And then the in-town signs and trail signs. And again, 2 of the primary major would be the DOT type. It would be the brown, beige type signs with the cap of the city's logo on top.
Only one question. Iowa Plains, being a local business, and I think you guys told me that they transwood. Do they object to what we're trying to print on them? Is there some way we could modify the sign so that we will do it?
Yeah,
It does.
With their process, I think they could do like.
They can do the
like
wayfaring.
simple signs, you know, like the ones on the bottom, but they
Right.
could not do like the entrance.
The city
sign.
entrance.
So I'm fine if you go to one of the ones you recommended, if we want to give them the shot.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the council to maybe hold on the city entrance signs. I'd like to know a little bit more about what they are. The way that they were designed it in the community visioning, they were nicer, higher end, they were lit up or backlit. This does not look like that. I would rather hold and verify that and get those entry, if we're gonna do the 4 entries, get those right and make them look really sharp
Yeah.
versus just slam up a printed.
Pros, it's saying it's,
That's what I thought too.
inkjet print.
Overlay 'em.
Yeah.
I don't think that looks like what we were kind of envisioning or what was presented. So I'd kind of like to hold on that. I'd ask the council to hold on that so we can do further research on the welcomes and then the junction trail sign maybe. I think that was kind of designed the same way.
Yeah.
So you're holding off on.
And do all the wayfinding ones effectively.
Now, when you talk about lighting, at that point, there was objection, one of the property owners the property owner on 210 objected to having lighting on the property on that sign. And of course, they donated property to allow those signs to be placed on their property.
Which one are you talking about? North,
On the,
east or west?
the, east one.
Okay, yeah.
But there was, so if you get into this any deeper, you got to revisit that with property owners, but they did not want
I can take care of that one.
any lighting. Okay.
But we'll do that as time. I just would rather have it done
Backlighting versus what they were gonna have for.
projecting maybe.
Maybe, might be
Yeah,
a different,
maybe.
I just.
Maybe more subtle.
I would rather not pull the trigger on those just with this. I'd rather pull the triggers on the other wayfinding ones.
Yeah, I think this is just what Iowa Prison Industries kicked back for the entrance,
just
so
printed.
I don't know that that's.
I'd like to see the backlit one. I think that'd look nicer, but I know we didn't price that. I'd rather follow up with Sign Pro and them and ask about more of a design like that, but I'm good with the wayfindings.
Well, and if we're pricing out the wayfinding ones, those are ones that, that Iowa Plains can do. We might want to revisit that just to see if they're, since we're separating out those projects. I know I'm making more work, but, again, I'd do anything to keep that in our local business that's treated us really well over the years than send it just because they didn't do the entry signs or didn't want to bid on the entry signs.
So what's the direction?
So just,
So hold on the entrance signs.
Hold on
the
the
entrance signs and
And the
then
junction, in the Slater Junction.
And I'm to ask about the graphics and the lighting? Is that?
No,
from-
just hold on that. Forget about entrance, forget about Slater Junction. We're good to move forward on the wayfinding. We'd like to circle back to Iowa Plains to ask if they can do them
And give you the discretion.
at or below the cost.
Okay.
At or below the cost as quoted. If they
Okay.
can, then utilize them. If they can't, then go back to Sign Pro for execution.
For
Yeah.
primary and secondary, when you say Wi-Fi.
When you
Right?
I guess I'm just confused on what's considered
Yeah, you
primary
look
and
at that.
secondary.
Like primary major is.
I get that, but I'm trying to
there's
like,
4 total.
but what's primary, secondary here?
Um,
When you say primary, secondary there,
Yeah.
I just see writing and I don't know.
right here, this would be.
So number 4, so those numbers that you put on there align with the Sign Pro's quote.
Right,
Okay, so number 4, yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
wanting to approve that. Number 2, I think we're wanting to approve that. The other number 4. Yeah, so
Yeah, the
2s and
numbers of the
4s. 2s and 4s we're approving,
okay.
but then you have 4. Oh, that's the count of
Yeah,
how many
the
there are.
numbers. are
Sorry.
quantity.
Primary way, secondary way, is that what they're called? Yeah, so primary, secondary, trail sign.
That's all the ones.
And then
What's
2 of
the
those
Iowa
are
DOTs? 2 of those are Iowa,
Yeah.
so we're approving those Iowa DOTs as well.
Right.
We're just not approving the entrance there.
Yeah.
And we're not approving,
Slater Junction.
which I don't think that was in there. The Slater Junction wasn't really quoted, was it?
Let's see it anymore.
Let's see it.
Okay,
So the wayfinding, so it'd be the primary and the in town, so.
Those
both of
4
those,
we're good
yeah,
with.
Okay.
That one
Compare
we're-
them with. The.
reach back out to Iowa
in town.
Plains and tell them we're just doing those right now, see if they can do those. If they can for the same price or less, then use them. I would say. Otherwise use Sign Pro. And then the follow-up to me would be in the community vision book, I don't know if there's better descriptions about backlit and 3D design on those, but I think those had 3D design. Maybe talk to Sign Pro about what that would look like and what that would cost with some
And
solar
lighting.
backlighting and I assume they do solar, but backlighting and 3D look for the welcome signs
Okay,
and the Slater Junction Trail, Junction Park.
but that's a whole, and then come back also on the.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Signorama.
Yeah, Signorama too.
Yeah.
Is that where what's his name works? Yeah, is that Kyle? Yeah, Meadows, yeah. We do have a resident, Kyle Meadows with Signorama. He could be reached out to. We could find his contact information.
Pretty neat stuff.
He's a resident too to represent them, so he'd
Okay.
be an option on those entry signs. I know they stand behind their stuff too on the Dotties. I know there was something with that. Cool. Everybody's good with this?
What was this one that showed the part, showed the layout of the town and stuff? Was that
What was it for?
The-
I was providing information like on speed limit signs so that we could make sure that the sizes were appropriate
I see, okay.
with the speed of the motor
Okay.
vehicles.
Cause there was, I shared with you, I think, and then did I send that in that had that one in doing?
Yeah, you shared that with us.
But if we're doing something at, like the trailheads or something like that, that those would be good.
Just probably asked you guys too, don't.
Signorama?
Yeah.
It'd be worth just asking him. If Iowa Plains, ask Iowa Plains first, because if they can do it, we'll go there first. If Iowa Plains says no, we just are too busy or we can't, then go to Signorama and then Sanorama or Sand Pro based on who you think. So let's have a motion to approve as discussed on the everything but the entrance or junction trail
And
sign
I wrote down notes, so I got.
with all the other details.
I so move with the discretion to.
It will all be correct.
All those in favor signify with aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Number 29, setting date January 12th for public hearing on ordinance amendments to accessory buildings, chicken coop runs, adopting site plan standards.
Yeah, we,
Some content or just.
well, it's setting a hearing, but there is a memo that we provided to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had a meeting before the Thanksgiving holiday. We've had a couple of applications submitted. If you look at the first page of that memo, under current regulations. So if a accessory building is closer than 10 feet to the main building, it's got to meet all the setbacks as the house would meet, front, side, and rear. And it creates kind of a unusual situation, especially like on a corner lot. And then like this number 3, if the building is greater than 10 feet, there's a requirement, and in this case, it would be in the backyard, and we still have a requirement that the building be 60 feet away from the street line. And usually if you're in the backyard, it's a minimal standard. Your focus really is on, it's behind the house, side and rear yard, usually try to keep them out of easements, and that's usually it. But the city's ordinance, for some reason, has a 60-foot requirement setback when buildings are greater than 10 feet from the house. And again, so
Connected, they go. I was looking for the old pen.
Yeah.
Tell us why that was
Yeah.
there.
I'm lost, yeah.
So, we had a discussion about that and support to combine those two, take out the when closer than 10 feet, when greater than 10 feet, and just really, support like a 4-foot side and rear yard setback and take out the distance from the street right away. I've worked in several communities and I've never come across that. And I honestly, I'm not sure what we're trying to achieve, especially if it's in the backyard. In most cases, you're not even gonna see a shed. Maybe something larger, substantial, you might
There's a lot
see.
of chicken coops in this town that never got a permit, I guarantee it.
Well, and with the current code, if it's less than 200 square feet, there's no permit required, but we would still require that they meet setbacks.
Yeah, this. On which?
4 to 5 is a standard setback for accessory structures.
Okay. 'Cause I
Like
guess-
the house would be 8 foot for R1, R2. In this ordinance.
Okay, because you're trying to get a mower and things through on 4 foot seems.
Everybody doesn't have
Got
as
it.
big of a mower as you do, Chris.
I'm trying to, you know,
Well,
what's
Yeah,
in
and
the
then,
backyard
and then
against the alley?
double, you know, we'd have 8 feet if you had two buildings that were on adjacent.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you have smaller lots in the center of town, there's not a lot of space, so
Okay,
they're not as wide, they're not as deep a lots, they're really. So,
all right, that was my only concern is I'm
so
not.
this is the recommendation from P and Z.
Yeah, to support, you know, combining,
I'm just glad they've looked at the corner lots, because those always present a lot more challenges. And
Yeah.
so if this is a recommendation from the P and Z, and this is what they've looked at, I don't see any reason to second guess somebody that's put a lot of work into this, so I.
Setting the date for the.
Yeah, we're just setting the date for the hearing.
Yeah.
For the hearing.
yeah, the second thing is chicken coop runs,
Mhm.
the coop and the run. Currently, the city's ordinance supports a 25-foot separation from coop and run to the adjacent neighbor's house.
House property.
House.
Dwelling.
This is why this came up, is that there was a resident that complained to me and they're like, their chicken coop is essentially on the property line but it's still 25 feet from my house, so it meets the ordinance, but it's like, that's silly because it's all my setback that gives them the ability to put it there.
Yeah.
Versus, so this would just make it so that it would almost force in 90% instances that it can't be on the property line.
Right.
Or if it's in a backyard, obviously that's gonna open it up a little bit, you know? Like I know Pierce's have, one, but when you think about where the residents are, they're gonna be fine because they're in the backyard on an alley versus this one's in a side yard between two houses on the property line.
No.
So the complaint was about if you have your chicken coops there, windows are open, like you're trying, in the summer or whatever, and it's like you got chickens out all day, all night, so. Public hearing, we got a first from Ken, we got a second from Sue. Is there anything else?
Only thing is, Jerry, Lindsay, you got experience at 4 foot, just makes me nervous. You guys, in your experience, have got no issues?
Correct.
I think it's doable.
Okay, good. Otherwise I go with Ken. The planning is all over this.
All those in favor signify with aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign.
There's no cookies in
Here, you want to show that?
there.
Here, Joel.
Correct.
We got someone with no thing.
Or.
Keep going, so good.
Discussion and consideration of rescinding the grant award to the factory strength and conditioning. They've settled somewhere else, so we're gonna take the grant money back just so there's no obligation to hold it for them. I asked Jerry and talked to the individual about their debt to the city. Was that paid this week? Do you know?
Nope, nothing's been paid.
Yeah, he responded that he would take care of it ASAP.
So we need to continue to follow up and push on that. But I'd take a motion to rescind that grant to the
We
factory.
rescind the grant to back in strength condition.
All those in favor signify with aye. Opposed, same sign.
And for the record, on those applications, we're gonna provide a time period by which the applicant and the property owner need to sign the agreement and return it. to the
And
city.
probably need to verify they have leases and all that good stuff too, because I don't think there ever was one maybe with that property. Just going forward.
No, yeah, the reason, well, that one's kind of a chicken or egg in the sense that it's like, they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out if they can build it out or not, and if we give them approval, then they can do it. I think the economic, once we get. January will approve all the committees, and I think one of the things that committee needs to do after 2 years of serving on it or working with it is. We need to revamp what our programs are
Yep.
and what we are willing to provide and how.
Yes.
And maybe we need to analyze in the world we live in, whether 0% interest is what we should offer versus. An administrative type fee to bill it monthly or whatever to cover that, to account for it. But all of our programs, I think we should revisit. Especially as we look at 321 Main and different things like that, defining like how much would we give for economic development. Okay, discussion and consideration of solid waste and recycling plans. I did share with you guys, I made the initial contact. I'm gonna try to go to the Boone County supervisors to have a conversation to see if they would bless us into there versus, I know Jerry went to
For the meeting at Story County.
well, you went directly to the guy that runs the Boone County landfill and he said, sorry, they're not doing that. That's a supervisor thing. Well,
Right.
so I'm just trying to cut him out of the middle of the discussion.
This lady that's here today, and she's gonna be working with Boone, well, she had.
They'll be involved in it. They're helping me get the meeting with the supervisor, the Boone County supervisor.
Yeah, we've been told no, but the program administrators at Ames said that we basically have the ability or the right to continue on with that current, with the Central Iowa CISWMA. And I did reach back out to the rep at the DNR and ask more questions about that, like we're getting conflicting information. How does this work? And I'll let the city council know when I get those responses back.
Ultimately, where I sit right now is I don't want to just go sign the Ames agreement and commit and lock us into that. I want to make sure that I feel like, and I know Ken's really supportive of this as well. Like I want to try to turn every stone over we can and be told no on every avenue. And just because the person that runs the Boone County landfill said, no, we're not doing it, I'd like to go to the supervisors and get that. I know that Roland and McCallsburg are no longer going to use Ames. They're going to go to Marshall County. So I know some of the other towns are looking at getting away from this to something that's more in their control for longevity, I think. But that's what I'd like to do. And I think if Boone County remains a no, then I think we need to make one more swing at Polk County. If Polk County remains a no, then I think we start to analyze whether it's logical to go to Marshall County or whether we need to just, we're stuck.
There's another choice in Dallas County, I think, which is I think where Jefferson takes theirs, because Jefferson's not part of the
Carolyn.
No, the same one we're in now. Isn't Green in that one too, Jerry? I think Green is in the same planning area as ours. I think it's Story, Boone, and Green.
Jefferson was like the only city that wasn't in Boone County's primary service area. So I'm not sure where they take their area.
I think they take theirs down to one that's at the north end of Dallas County. That actually wouldn't be much further for us either than some of those other. One thing I would say that I found out from this and at the meeting too, but is that as we look at this, one thing that I think, and especially future council members may want to tune into is that probably the only way we're not going to be able to go along with the Ames proposal, and I'm not in favor of that at all. But it creates a lot of headaches, and one of the things that is gonna necessitate is us creating our own garbage utility. Doing our own billing of everybody in town, requiring everybody in town to use the city as their garbage utility, and then we would let bids to a garbage hauler. And they would be the garbage hauler for the city. So a lot of people like the fact that they can go out and hire whichever garbage company they want, because other cities they've been a part of in the past, maybe they were dictated and they didn't like that. Realizing that would be a complete changeover from what everybody's used to now, I think we have to be sensitive to how many phone calls that's going to necessitate for the staff here, complaints to Public Works. That every garbage can that gets tipped over, they say, well, now you're the utility, you come out and clean it up. That's clearly not part of their job. But so you got to realize how many headaches that's going to create if we decide to pull out of the Ames, whatever Ames is doing. That necessitates us being our own utility, doing our own billing. And no matter how this plays out, one way or the other, garbage rates are going to double from what they are now, from what people are used to paying. It's going to be at least double by the time and especially depending on if you consider the per capita rate, which we may not be paying the right amount of. But however you figure this, your garbage rates are going to double easily. And they've already started to go up, and they're going to go up again significantly, almost 50% from where they are now. They're going to go up again. And that's an estimate of what this is going to cost Ames to haul. And they don't even have a picture because they're talking about having to buy garbage, having to buy semis and put semis on the road to Carroll County. The most any semi is going to be able to do is 2 round trips a day.
They're buying 6 or 7 dump trucks.
They're going to have to buy 6 or 7, not dump trucks. These are semis.
Yeah.
You're taking what's now compacted in a garbage truck and dumping it out on a floor, storing it around, and then loading it into semis that'll no longer be compacted. So it's not going to haul as much garbage as the garbage trucks are hauling up there. And so they've done the math, but it's still a wild guesstimate of what it's going to cost to run all that to Carroll County. And then, but it would necessitate us being our own utility for garbage, which is a big change. The rates are going to double no matter how you do this, probably. And so you're gonna get complaints that we took control of this as a city council. You guys took control of this and our rate still doubled. You know, what are you idiots doing? That's what you're gonna hear if we decide to go this route. So just be prepared for that as part of the decision-making process. But as it stands now, we can stand back and say, this really isn't our problem. This is up to the garbage haulers. They're gonna pay Ames, whatever Ames tells them they're gonna pay. All we're doing is agreeing to keep paying $10.50 per household that will be used to help finance this transfer station in Ames. But all the rest of the costs of that transfer station will likely not be put on the city. It will be put on all of the garbage haulers that are gonna go up there and dump, which means their tipping fees are gonna go through the roof. And we're already, right now, we're probably at least 50% higher than some of the tipping rates at some of the landfills. And it's, so we're in the $75 range. A lot of the counties are paying, some of them are under 60, but most of the rest of them are in this between 60 and 70. And that's where they anticipate they're gonna stay with, you know, inflationary changes. Ames, our tipping rate went from like 60 to 77.
75 to like
75.
90 some dollars.
It's gonna go up to 90.
3 or 4.
This next year, and that's an estimate. So you can just about guess it's easily gonna go over $100. And so the tipping fee is gonna be, you know, from 65 of what a lot of counties are paying, a lot of places are paying to dump, like Metro is in the 50. Is Metro Waste, what are theirs are in the $50 to $60 range, I think.
don't recall.
And Marshall County is in that $50 to $60 range. And so going through Ames, it's gonna be in the $90 to $100 range, as soon as this thing's up and running, which is what, 27, so year and a half from now. I think that the savings that the tax that each individual residents will pay could be significant, but it won't look like that because they won't see what the rate would have been if they would have stayed with Ames. And so even though it's gonna go up, city council here will be who gets blamed for all of that increase. So while doing that, I think would still be the right decision for everybody. We're taking over some of their decision making in order to do that. We're doing that anyway. If we decide to go to Ames, then everything goes to Ames and they have no say in that, and they'll pay the tipping rate that Ames dictates.
But it's not uncommon for cities to do this. Sheldon, for one, is a contracted city.
Yep.
I know a lot of our small towns around.
I would say it's close to 50-50 around the state, but
Yeah,
I think it's really logical, and I definitely think it's something you have to analyze either way you're gonna end up doing.
we looked at years ago
Streets.
for streets, for wear and tear on streets. You
Yeah.
have one garbage day. You have one set of garbage trucks versus 6.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. to
The
look at.
aesthetics of it.
Yeah,
If there was a way to quantify that and be able to say, to know what the savings on our roads might be if we went to one provider. I don't know if you could find that number or not, but that might help in the decision-making process.
Yeah, I think, there any-
The other thing that will play a role in this is we'll also have to develop some sort of a recycling program that goes along with this. That'll happen no matter what we choose to do. Right now,
Something going.
by what Ames has been using where they burn everything and originally we're hauling mostly ash along with some things they couldn't do to the Boone County landfill. By burning it, that reduced the garbage stream by a dramatic amount. That no longer is gonna happen. And so the only way you're gonna meet any of the state guidelines for reducing how much garbage goes into a landfill is by doing a recycling program, and you're gonna also have to prove how much you're reducing the waste stream by how much you're sending elsewhere in recycling, which again, if we're the utility, then we're the ones that has to prove that, or at least provide those numbers in a report every year to the DNO. So it involves a lot of city work and city staff work, especially that first year, and especially with the phone calls and complaints that we'll receive. But in all honesty, you're gonna receive those one way or the other. But probably if, you know, most of it will go to the garbage hauler because that's where the majority of the bill will come from. As if we went with the Ames program. We do this ourselves, we're taking over the program, we're gonna do the billing. It's all gonna look like an enormous increase, and we're gonna be accused of both dictating it to them and increasing their costs.
So am I hearing you say sign Ames agreement?
Hmm?
Am I hearing you say
I'm
sign Ames's
absolutely not
agreement?
saying sign the Ames agreement, but if you go into it with your eyes open, knowing you're gonna receive a steady stream of complaints. And those complaints will go on forever with every garbage can that blows down the street.
Missed service,
Well,
leaky trucks.
Yep.
why aren't those all deferred to the provider, to the hauler?
Because.
You
because
field
we
those
will be
calls,
the
but-
We will be the end
Right.
provider, and
Happens a lot.
we'll let the contract.
Contact City Hall.
Huh?
When I was at Portland, there was one hauler, and at Prairie City, there was one, and it's amazing how many calls come from solid waste complaints. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Now Lindsay has a different story.
Yeah.
It was bliss for her. I'd like to know who they worked with.
Yeah, we had one and I mean, we got phone calls only during holiday time and that was it. Otherwise, they all went to the hauler.
Oh, okay.
So we just
But-
said call.
Some haulers aren't willing to field that because the person whose garbage the can they're picking up will no longer be their client. Only the city will be the client, and they'll say, you just have to talk to the city because we work for them, not for you. But that'll depend on the hauler.
Yeah, we had a discussion with the city administrator at Story City, and weren't they looking at maybe dividing the community like to north and south and maybe having two haulers?
Yeah.
So there's probably
I
some
see how that
different
makes any amount of
scenarios,
sense,
but-
but because you're not overlapping. They were just gonna let two contracts for one half of the city and the other half of the city. They're just,
Right.
it makes no sense to me at all, but that's.
Right, we did get some information on recycling from Metro Waste Authority. We could work with them, have an agreement, we would use their hauler for recycling for $100 a month. And they would bill the city for that service, and then the materials would be taken to Grimes at the recycling redemption center there. And Ames is going out for RFP, so they're gonna include all the cities in the 2080 and provide that information on what the cost would be if we wanted to participate in that.
The other thing that I would recommend as leaving the council, but to do with garbage. Is one of the things that you could do right now is to cut down you could cut the number of trips garbage cans make down your street now in half. By asking people to put their garbage cans on one side of the street versus the other. Secondly, is you've got a lot of the streets in town have parking on only one side of the street, but the people who live on that side of the street still have to find a place to put their garbage can. Where hopefully the neighbor doesn't park near it on garbage collection day, or it doesn't get picked up, or the garbage guy's gotta get out and by garbage guys, I mean generically, but the garbage hauler has to get out. And go dump those cans, which is a great reason to keep driving versus and not, I didn't see it, it must have been parked behind the truck. But now in weather like we have right now, I guarantee my wife does not want to haul that garbage can if I forget across the street. But in the rest of the season of the year, if everybody just said, hey, let's put it on this side of the street, because there's no parking on that side of the street anyway. You've got every garbage can you've got less excuse for why they didn't get picked up, and you've got half as many trips, even if you have one garbage hauler down the street every week. Once or twice a week, if they're all on one side of the street. And it would just be a matter of asking for, I'm not wanting to dictate that to people. I would ask for some compliance of that and see if you can't get the culture to move that direction. You're never gonna get 100%, but if theirs is parked and somebody parks in front of their garbage can that day and their garbage can doesn't pick up, it's an easy answer for why that didn't happen.
In theory, the garbage guy could do that as well.
Could do.
In theory, the garbage guy would just do that. They'd grab that one and then go to that street and then grab that one and then go, huh? Yeah, it's all electronic.
They don't wanna get
Less
out.
and less they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they have.
I do want the record to show that the meeting's been pretty efficient, 8 o'clock, and Ken is 8:14, and Ken has now extended the meeting as his last meeting. I've tried to run the most efficient meeting ever for you, Ken. For you. And the meeting has now been extended.
Throw something that might hurt him.
He's setting up the future.
I,
For this.
you know, I don't know what your interest is for extended participation beyond being on council, but
I'm only going to these meetings with this just because I'm passionate about it and,
would certainly empower you to stay
and I want
involved
you to
in part
know
of
it.
it.
But that's why my disclaimer that was so long is because if we go the way I think it should go, we're creating a lot of headaches for the future city council and a lot of headaches for the city staff. And
Yeah,
and especially during that transition period. So if you make those decisions, make them with your eyes open. That's all.
I would just ask this council, I would like to ask or empower Ken to continue to stay involved in these meetings as he's interested to attend these. He said he's interested in continuing with the garbage discussion, seeing some of that through. He's not gonna be on council on January 1st. I'd like just
a liaison?
I'd just like him to be, I'd like to just make a motion to make him a liaison for us, or it can, going forward.
If you were looking that way, you'd get a no vote,
I'm
right?
not, I think you're getting a second anywhere from that one, but we're even a motion. You can't do that.
He just said he
You
wanted
did
to.
say you're interested, right?
I'm interested in it. I don't need an official capacity to do that. I can go to meetings and weigh in on it and come out and give you some information from the Subi seat.
Are we good with that legally? Everything's good? Okay.
I have-
If we're good legally on
I
everything. Yeah.
appreciate the information you've provided. One clarifying question, if we do go with another garbage hauling or another landfill. In the negotiations, is it chicken or the egg? Do you talk to a garbage company to see if somebody will go to? You to go to Boone? I don't know.
Well, the hauler's gonna go wherever you have the agreement with.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
you
how
have
that.
to get permission to get out of your
Yeah.
current planning area
Zero knowledge.
and get permission to go in your new area.
Okay.
So kind of two different issues, but
Okay. I didn't know how. that
they
worked.
could be one if
Yeah.
you get the right to go somewhere else.
Yeah, so if we made some agreement with Hardin County, good luck getting anybody to bid on your contract. It's gonna haul garbage to Hardin County, Iowa, with all the garbage that comes out of Slater. So
It's, I was trying to figure out how that works.
plus, it's gonna reflect in your contract cost. So it behooves you to make that agreement with somebody that's close.
All right,
Why you're seeing everybody on the east side of the county go to Marshall.
This is a discussion.
that was the discussion. Good discussion.
Okay.
You should try to put a motion, we'll see if it's in build a landfill.
Yeah, somebody in Story County would make some money building a landfill, I'd say, but the supervisors didn't want to do that apparently. So it's too hard.
Move we adjourn.
Well, we got one last thing.
The last item was just changing city council meeting dates. I'm aware of some challenges. We've set some public hearing dates for January 12th.
We need to amend.
So we're stuck on that.
Well, then we need to amend this, but most places I've been, you do that, you set the time and the date that the council meets by resolution, so I would propose that we like amend this out so that we don't have to change.
So
the-
it just says one meeting monthly, one regular
Council
meeting a
could take
month.
action to set that date.
And then use a resolution to set the date and time, yeah. So I think what we'll do is I'd ask that we put this on the agenda for discussion. I know one of our new council members has a discrepancy with the second Tuesday of the month. I just want to get off the schedule with the school so that we can attend some of those meetings as we go into some of the conversations we're having with them.
Only the potential.
Yeah, I'd like to move off of Monday for the staff's benefit of being able to have Monday to
If, I'm not arguing.
deal with any last minute items.
You mentioned.
So I'm first Tuesday, third Tuesday, fourth Tuesday, something in there. I was thinking,
Oh, so
so
just not the
we'll
second.
set that on the 12th. We'll finalize that with the new council on the 12th to be effective the February 1st, February meeting.
Okay.
All right, so with that said, again,
Do you guys say we're working on boards and commissions document too, or not?
no, you're working on that.
Yeah, the work in progress.
Appreciate everything you guys have done. This is the last couple minutes of a lot of years of service, so thank you.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Would anybody like to discuss anything? Is there any more discussion?
Bay and Eric Champagne.
May Erickson.
Sorry.
All right,
Who do you want to sit? Was it Shannon?
It's been.
all those in favor signify with aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? 8:19.